What I saw wasn't human.
Oh my God!
It was very tall.
Rawhead Rex.
What's up, rotters? Welcome back to Brainrot, the podcast that takes a deep dive into the best worst horror films of the 80s and 90s. I'm Stevie, your VHS veteran. I've had so many lovely tweets and messages about last week's episode with Prano Bailey Bond and the truly batshit Frozen Scream. Images and moments from that film still pop into my head quite often, and I'm so glad Prano introduced me to it, and also introduced you lot to it too. I know heaps of you watched it. A quick merch announcement. Our Metal AF Brainrot tees are on a limited time sale currently at just £13 each, so if you want to grab one of those, just go to steviesbrainrot.com. We also ship internationally too for those overseas. As I said, it's a limited time sale. Don't know how long, but not long. That's all I'm going to say. Last week on Patreon, Brad Hansen joined me as we continued our house retrospective with number 3, The Horror Show. God, that one's good. We had a riot talking about that. And next week on Patreon, I'll be covering 1995's Stuart Gordon-helmed Castle Freak, starring Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs in their finest performances as a duo, in my opinion. I love that film so much, and it's so dark and so serious and so graphic. I really enjoyed revisiting it, so if you want access to the back catalogue of bonus episodes and have the new ones just pop up directly in your feed, then go to patreon.com/Stevie's Brainrot to sign up. This week, I'm joined by someone who will be making their 7th appearance on Brainrot. Yep, it's Mr. Cody Jamison Strand. In Series 1, we covered the Killer Cat B-movie, Uninvited, and then later that series, we also covered the original Critters movie, which then prompted us to cover the entire 5-movie Critter franchise over 4 episodes over on Patreon. This time, we're headed to Ireland to discuss 1986's Rawhead Rex, adapted by Clive Barker from his own novella of the same name. The production and script of this film suffered from fears about the video nasty era and worries of what might be deemed as obscene in Thatcher's United Kingdom. So what you get is a film that wants to go there but gets cold feet from time to time. However, its nonsensical plot and just completely unexplained happenings make it hilariously clunky, and they throw in a comical looking ogre for good measure, so what's not to love? Hello, Cody.
Hi!
You wiggled your way back onto the main feed, I see.
Wiggled and squiggled. I greased myself up and shot straight through like a cannon.
Yeah, I might even press record. No, I just want you to, see friends, really. So I'm just organising this so you've got someone to talk to.
Sometimes, yeah,
I'm doing God's work.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
How have you been?
Oh, I've been so good. We're in the middle of a hurricane right here in the East Coast. I think it's Hurricane Henry. No,
sure.
Hurricane Edith. I forget what it is. It's a hurricane. It's not so bad where we are. It's just raining all the time. So my Pomeranian is a sponge. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, sure.
It's been really fun for that.
We had a tornado in England.
A what?
Yeah,
That doesn't happen, does it?
No, it does not. But I just, to be honest though, I saw it on TikTok, and then I didn't see it in the news.
Someone just TikToked a tornado.
Yeah, maybe I should. I just realised I haven't actually looked that up, and I'm putting it out there as gospel.
That is amazing.
Yeah, but
hope
it
it's
looked
true.
real.
I mean, end of the world stuff, whatever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm so used to that now. Like,
I know, every other day.
I'm aware I'm living in the apocalypse, so
yeah.
Go on, what
At
you
least
got next?
It's not just a giant raging penis monster being unearthed from an Irish field.
Right, so that brings us on to...
I got you! I'll bring this back.
Yeah. Brings us on to Rawhead Rex from 1986. I have to say, though, come on. I give you the best film. So we had Uninvited about the fucking killer cat. Yep. Then we did the entire Critters retrospective franchise.
Genius.
And now Rawhead Rex.
I mean, you asked me if I wanted to do it, and you just sent me a GIF of the monster, and I was like, sold.
Yeah.
I don't even care what 100%. It's about.
Yeah.
I will watch that. So I went on Amazon and I spent $3.99.
Oh shit! Sorry, invoice me.
Oh jeez, please. $3.99. Yeah, it's not even my Amazon. It's my roommate's, so I don't even know if he knows.
Oh, he does now.
Sorry.
So I'm assuming you hadn't seen or certainly read it. What are your general overarching thoughts?
I guess I realize I'm not familiar with Clive Barker's work because he did Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah?
But what was the other one he did?
Candyman.
That's the only one I've seen is Candyman.
Nightbreed. Oh yeah. All right. Okay.
Because I haven't seen any of the Hellraisers, believe it or not.
Right.
And have not seen Nightbreed, but I have seen like the monsters because they're so kind of iconic. Awesome. But I was watching this, and I mean, I love that it got right into it. I love that it was like going for it, but I was also like, I have no idea what it was trying to say. I don't understand any of the major plot points.
No.
I don't know why it ate a child. I don't know. Like, I don't know. My biggest takeaway is like David Dukes is a really unfortunate name for an actor anymore.
David Dukes.
Because David Duke is the head of the KKK.
Oh my god, I knew that name rang a bell.
Yeah, so the first thing was like starring David Dukes, and it was like, ooh.
Awkward.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I just covered a film that was written by Peter Sutcliffe, not the Yorkshire Ripper, but it's the same name, and I was like, ooh, it's unfortunate. God, no. That would be so bad, wouldn't it, if your name is suddenly synonymous with a serial killer or a Klansman. Like, geez, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
So all the things you said about Rawhead Rex, completely agree with, because it just does not tie anything up. It doesn't explain. It throws things in, and it quickly tries to go, oh, I think here's the mythology. And you're like, no, whoa, slow down. What do you mean there's the mythology? What do you mean it's allergic to pregnant women?
Yeah.
You need to give me more.
You're telling me the whole time this motherfucker has been just lying down under a field of grass in Ireland?
Right. Yeah, and the one thing that can kill him is just in a box without a lock in the church. Yeah, so Clive Barker, obviously, he adapted it for the screen, but notoriously, he really, really hates the finished product for many reasons. And I know you know, like, the design of Rawhead Rex is one of them. One thing also, the film got funding in February of the year, and it started filming in March of that year. So they had 4 weeks to design and create and cast and do everything. So this was a major fucking rush job.
Oh my god. Well, that all makes sense.
Yeah, but in the short story, it's all a massive metaphor for toxic masculinity, and basically how men are just giant cocks running around terrorizing women.
Right.
That's cool. It gets completely lost, and none of that metaphor or sort of deep message is in this film. And so the original design for the creature was a giant phallus, a massive fucking cock, and it even had a slit in the top.
No!
Teeth.
No!
So this monster was an actual giant penis with veins, and it was called Rawhead because the top looked like raw meat with a slit.
Oh my god.
So one of the other reasons why they didn't go with that is because at this point in the mid-80s, especially in England, we were going through the video nasty stage when censorship, because of the VHS boom, and everyone was able to take all these films out and not have to see them at the cinema. This is when the video nasties came into play, and so the BBFC started having to watch everything and give it a rating or censor it, or so you got to cut this. And a lot of films were just straight up banned, let alone cut. So they were worried when they were making this, looking at the book, and also in the book, like he's going around and Rawhead Rex is killing children, and it's really graphic, and there's some graphic sexual stuff.
Wow.
So they were like, we don't want to run the risk of making this film, putting all this time and money in, and then it going to the BBFC and them going, no, we're banning that, or we're cutting this. So it ends up just like a nothing film. But what they've ended up doing is it's almost children could watch this. There are a few moments that are seriously questionable.
Oh my god. Yeah, several.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to some of that. And so, yeah, one, it being a rush job, and two, them not wanting to piss off the BBFC, this is the product we get. And knowing all that, it makes complete sense.
Yeah. And the whole time I was watching this, especially after having done the research with like it was supposed to be a giant penis, then I was like, well, they're just taking this far too seriously, is how I felt. Like, I could really see this working as a horror comedy, especially if they went, you got to go like full satire.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, we just have this movie, that felt like they hated poor people more than anything when I was watching it, because it's just like how many trailer parks had to die during the making of this movie.
Right, it's the fact that Rex terrorizes the trailer park and then he comes back later, he's like, no, I'm not done with them.
And also, if they're making it an allegory, like it didn't just target, I mean, it killed women. Like one woman.
Yeah.
Or like two, and like
if that
flashed her boobs, and like I was like, this is bizarre. I know.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't come across that message, and I mean, it looks nothing like a man. Obviously, they've given it. Also, that's the thing, they've given it this ripped body.
I mean, I would. Anyone Rawhead Rex?
But apparently, it was meant to be very, like, it's got this, penis head, but it was meant to be really skinny, like Slender Man, so it's quite tall and creepy. It's just completely the opposite. They've made it it's an ogre, isn't it? But it also kind of doubles up as an 80s rock star, like it could be in Kiss.
I thought it was like, it looked like they were doing like leather play almost.
Right.
Like with the costume, I was like, is this like, a fetish monster? Like, I couldn't quite figure it out, and because there's also like, there's some of that in there.
Definitely. Yeah, there's definitely some of that.
Yeah.
Which that, Clive Barker, like Hellraiser, it's all about that line between pleasure and pain. Like, what is that? And pushing the boundaries, and with piercing or cutting and that sort of crossing that line. So there is kink in there. But I mean, I don't think the way they dressed him is leaning into that. I mean, he's got like Robin Hood boots on, that like green suede boots.
It makes sense. It didn't make any sense.
And the kid who played him was this 19-year-old Irish German boy. He
just
wasn't an
actor. Giant.
Yeah, and he was like 6'10", yeah. And but also he'd obviously read the script, and he worked out for months trying to get ready to be Rawhead Rex. But then it's a full bodysuit, yeah. And also really uncomfortable. He had a fiberglass skull, basically, which had the animatronics in that had to sit on his face, and then they'd pull the latex Rex skin over that, and it was a full piece. So he was just in that, and it would take 2 hours a day to get in and out.
How do you pee?
Right? Well, we see that later.
Yeah.
But
that was the exact moment I actually stopped taking notes when I was watching the movie.
That's when it turns. And it actually does towards the end. Then you're like, and there's no point taking notes after that moment because everything is batshit fucking crazy.
Insane.
Nothing makes sense.
Nope.
Oh boy. And the thing is, I used to have this collection of short stories, because it's from Books of Blood, Volume 3, Clive Barker's, and I never read it, and I have no idea where it is now. And I really wanted to get it before doing this episode, but it's quite hard to find. I couldn't find like a Kindle edition, or I have to pay 60 quid, and
that's a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's not.
That's
it's not
a
the
lot
one.
for a story about a monster penis, you know.
Monster penis, yeah. Although,
wait, never mind. Charge the account.
Let's sort of chuck through. Chuck. I don't think that's the word I meant. Let's chuck through this film.
Do you want my synopsis?
Oh my god! How did I forget? One of your famous synopses. Please, let's have it.
Okay. One man faces off against humanity's oldest and most diabolical threat, a really kinky priest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's it.
That was it.
I think that's pretty much all you get. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's making acting choices, that priest.
He is the Meryl Streep of priests. Like he's like
Declan, yeah.
Yeah.
When he has his moment inside the church in the third act, he goes for it.
I mean, dream role, my god. By the way, since we're starting at the beginning of the movie, did you clock my guest starring role as the fat man in glasses driving the tractor? Did you?
The farmer.
Yeah.
I didn't clock it look like you.
Are these people actually Irish? Do we know?
Oh yeah, they were.
Okay.
This was filmed in England and Ireland, but the little boy, the son, he doesn't know where he's from because he's meant to be American because he's come over.
Those ears.
But then sometimes he's like, oh god, oh.
Yeah. Those ears alone told me he wasn't from around the United States.
Not from these parts.
I was like, watch a gust of wind.
Take him right off.
The
actual opening, actually, with the farmers, you mentioned it. So this stone column, right, which is this old Celtic pagan column in the middle of a field. So the farmers are trying to bring it down, but I'm assuming it's been there for centuries.
One would assume it would be a protected landmark of some kind.
Yeah.
You know, because it had like etchings on it. It wasn't just like a rock.
But what's happened? Why have they suddenly gone, do you know, today's the day, I'm taking down that pagan column?
You know, they mentioned something about like wanting to like retill the land, so maybe they were like planting.
There you go.
But,
Thank you. It is in there.
I mean, that was like a line though.
Right. So
and it didn't look like they were retilling the land. It just looked like they had driven trucks over it, you know?
Yes. But yeah, the lightning storm is what eventually brings it down. And we get the reveal of Rawhead Rex, who is really not buried deep.
No. And is he like literally like right under?
It's just the stone doesn't seem to go underground. It's like just on the ground. It falls over. There's a tiny mound of soil, and Rawhead Rex goes, "Rah!" It's like a WWE wrestler entering the ring. Literally,
I wrote Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like he's like, you know,
shaking his arms above his head.
Yeah, literally. I was like, this is the strangest intro, and it happens right away.
Yes,
and everyone's like, while they're like singing in the church, which I guess is close, and right away you know that the priest is in on it because he's like doing the weird eyes with the stained glass window that I've never seen before in my life. Not that obviously it's its own entity, but like you're telling me I'm going to a church and the stained glass features the devil.
Yeah, it's got Rawhead Rex on it there.
Yeah,
and so everyone has seen that face every day. It's a church. Why would you have who would make such a depiction of the devil and put it right up front center of the church?
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. With Latin all over it, and I was like, this is bizarre. Also, like when the guy was digging up the stone, like it started smoking.
Oh yes, that's true.
And he's like, "Oh, this is normal. I better keep digging." When I'm like, the first sign of smoke when I'm trying to like if I was removing like a stump, you know, it's like, "Oh wait, I just hit a gas line. I should stop." You know, like I'm gonna blow up something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
Turns out not. Because
he
he very shortly meets his doom.
Yes.
But we didn't see it. Like, he just looked like he like fell over and like looked up, and Rawhead was like, rah!
Having his moment. Yeah, I think we can just assume.
An ancient being of evil named Rawhead.
Yeah, that's the thing. You think it's going to be a nickname, but we do find out that the demon itself, this pagan god, is called Rawhead.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Literally.
Fantastic.
Like, this is the ancient demon of evil from the before humankind was existing, named Charles. You know, like it's
or bitch face.
Yeah, bitch face. Okay, wait though. Let's talk about that because that's a sequel I want.
Oh, you wanted bitch face Rex?
Rawhead Rex versus bitch face Betty or something.
No, wait. What's another dinosaur?
Bitch face Brachiosaurus.
Bitch face Saurus.
Oh my god. I mean,
yeah, but Howard, who's our main protagonist, so he is visiting. Right, this is also confusing. He's visiting Ireland from the US with his wife and 2 kids. He's writing a book about religious artifacts and relics, and specifically fertility cults. He throws in there.
I did not catch any of that.
Oh, really?
Nope.
But then, well, it's because it then goes nowhere. Like, you think, the whole fertility cult thing, maybe that's going to come back, and he knows what this monster is because it's like a fertility god.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't come back until the Deus Machina of an ending. Like,
right.
I just saw that, like, what is it? He's in the church, and his son's like, Mom says we gotta go. And he's like, get out of here. And then the kid says ass, and then he's like, stop saying that. Wink.
Yeah, just to show these really, quote unquote, annoying Americans have rocked up to this sleepy little Irish town.
I guess.
With the evil priest, so he's touched the altar, and somehow he's connected with Rawhead, and he can also see through Rawhead's eyes.
Which they never explain either.
No. And also he didn't touch the altar, there's a cloth on it. It just, the whole thing.
But also, isn't the altar the thing that's his weakness?
Yes. So how does it connect him to it?
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
If he went up to, because there was like the red beam coming out of his eyes in the stained glass window.
Right.
And like that would have made more sense if like there would some kind of, like the beam goes into his eyes or something. Right. It was like a, you know.
But why, why does the thing
movie, clearly.
Basically, why would the kryptonite power him? It doesn't make sense. Because also a lady tries to take a vase off it and it goes red hot and she goes, ooh!
I forgot about that! Because that happens right when Rawhead comes out of the ground.
Yeah.
And then we never see that lady again.
No. She just burnt her hand. Oh, man. But we get our first proper look at Rawhead Rex when we get the local couple and they notice the barn door is swinging open. This is Dennis and Jenny.
Oh, Lord Jesus. This whole section. Oh, Dennis. That's right. Because I said Rawhead, raw dog Dennis.
Raw dog. You raw dogged him.
You raw dog Dennis. So, what is it? The wife. What's her name? Delilah? Doris?
Jenny. Delilah.
Oh, Jenny and Dennis. Jenny's like, you didn't shut the door. And he's like, I did. And he looks over and he's like, oh, I guess I didn't. And like a overly long exchange. Like we didn't need that. And so he goes over there and we find out that the garage the door to the barn has been ripped open. Which is like my first sign that I'd be like, you know what? Let's call the police. You know?
Yeah. I
live in a quiet town. I don't store animals in there.
Right. Yeah, it's been ripped off, the bolt.
Yeah. So I'd be like, you know what? Hey, Jenny, let's get in the car, you know, like, let's get out of here, you know, but instead he's like, hello, anyone in there? And then Rawhead comes bursting through. He is a WWE character. That's exactly what he is.
It's just constant arms above head going,
Whoa! Literally comes like bursting through like the Undertaker. But
also, like, it has to do the arms above the head sort of with fists, because you can see that the movement in that costume is so limited. Also, the neck doesn't turn, so he can't turn his head. He has to turn his whole body. Yeah. The mouth, it's a mouth within a mouth, so you've got one mouth that's constantly open. The red spinning eyes.
My God.
So also, they made it from foam latex, which is it really doesn't hold up well from use. So it starts to break down and it rips. And they had to make 5 of these suits, and each one was just destroyed from every scene that was filmed because it would just tear, and you can't put it back together, and you can't hide the seams.
Yeah.
So it just it looks terrible.
Knowing that, I'm shocked that they showed it as much as they did, because you'd think you'd like take a lesson from Jaws, which was made earlier, you know, and they had monster problems, and their solution was to just it'll be an unseen monster.
Yeah, but to be honest, without having a lot of Rawhead, I think some of it could be really boring. But also because he's so limited in movement, once you've seen it twice, by like the 3rd and 4th kill, you're like, I know what's going to happen here. He's going to bite their neck and we won't see it, but then there'll be blood or a gash and he'll put his hands above his head, and then it's just the same every time. Yeah.
This scene, right? Because it also, like, it's set up, I felt like, or at least it tried to. Like, the first bit of lore or mythos to this character, where, like, he destroys the husband, totally destroys the husband, and chases the pregnant wife through the house, but then he sees her and he goes to, like, get her, but then, like, his hand recoils from her pregnant belly, and, like, he lets her live. And so right away you're like, oh, this is information. Like, this is, you know what I mean? But then...
It doesn't go further than that much.
It really doesn't.
Because... Yeah, there's on the stained glass window, I've got it somewhere, but I'll paraphrase. He translates the Latin. It feels like he's the first person to ever translate this Latin.
I mean...
and it's something like the way to defeat the devil, it can only be defeated by what it can't be. And so I was like, wait, so it can't be pregnant? Wait, it can't be a woman? What you need to piece these things together for us.
It didn't make any damn sense.
There's just not really the through line. I'm sure it's in the book, but...
It's like, oh, like maybe new life is what can kill it. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like, oh, it's a baby. But then, like, it killed a kid, so...
Yeah, right. It's, yeah.
Where do I draw the line, you know? As soon as the baby's born, it's, you know, it's lunchtime for Rawhead, you know, like, but up until then...
Yeah, I bet in the book it's really explained, but they've just not given it to us. Oh, do you know what, though, really bothered me? So... She's obviously preparing a really nice Irish stew. And then when she sees Rawhead, she drops the stew. And it's really weird because it's destroyed in a heartbeat. And it really fucks me off. And it really messes with my anxiety when something like that happens, when something that has had time and care is destroyed in a second. I don't know why it's really triggering for me. It's like when someone drops a cake. Like it's by mistake. No, ma'am, I have to sit down and breathe because it really affects me. Or it's the same with a house of cards coming down or a sandcastle being taken by the tide. I'm like, no. So I was more concerned when she dropped that stew she was making. I was not happy.
Oh my god, that's hysterical. Also, me and my roommate, we did have a discussion about the tiny, tiny little knife that she was using to prepare dinner. I was like, man, we know you have a kitchen knife. You know, like...
Yes, you're making this harder for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
It reminded me of my mother.
We get an insight into Howard and his wife's relationship, which I think is very intense. Like, she's insatiable. Everything she says is like, let's go for a walk.
I didn't get it at all. I'm like, your kids are right there. What is happening?
Everything she says is like, oh, yeah.
I know. It's like, honey, you were talking in your sleep again. Who's Big Jake? You remember that one? She's like, wouldn't you like to know? I'm like, so there's swingers now too? Like,
and if I was him, I'd go, yeah, I would like to know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm
get the
asking.
fuck out of my house. You know, like, who are you cheating on me with?
Give me your phone.
Yeah, give me your phone. Let me look through your phone right now.
Well, actually, even in this bit, because they're walking through the town and she says, oh, this town's so dead. And he says, well, I'm a historian. I prefer dead things. And then that makes her go, I'll bear that in mind. I was like, what? Hang on, what did she think he just said? And then they inappropriately snog in the street.
And then, like, a woman gives them a look and they're like, what's her problem?
Yes! And I'm like, are you
you're
serious?
In a foreign town, making out in the middle of nowhere, and
like,
you're just
seriously
interrupting this old lady's walk. She's like, I'm just trying to be healthy.
And you've kind of just alluded to you're into necrophilia, so it's just like the whole situation is
Very
dodgy.
strange. Very strange. Yeah.
But Jenny, who was the wife, the pregnant wife, so she gets discovered. Is she all right? She's feral.
I mean, she had a moment that I was like, oh, she's going for an award.
Yeah.
Because it starts when she's like, I thought she was like possessed by the beast.
Me too.
And then she just started crying, like, oh, what the hell's going on? I missed a spot when I cut my own hair. Don't worry about it.
Amazing.
I just saw it in the because I'm like lit by a halo, and I was like, noted. We come upon her, and we find out that she's still alive. Also, that the body of the husband's been taken. The Rawhead likes to take bodies, but she goes,
yes.
and I was like, what direction was this actress given before they said, and action? And then they go, that's it. Cut, print. We got the shot, you know? It's like...
Right. Because, yeah, she even, like, she's faking, like, claws with her hands and going...
Literally.
And then, as you say, immediately into crying. Very strange. But range...
I mean... Good for her.
Come on, Jenny.
She's doing it for her real. She's like, I need to get all the emotions across in one take.
Yes. So this is when Rex descends onto the trailer park
for the first time.
For the first time, when he realizes poor people are easy, he's like, I'm going back down the hill.
We get a long, drawn out scene with this young couple, making out in front of the guy's younger brother, who's doing like pew 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 like with his toys, and then they're like, you're annoying, and he's like, you're annoying, and then they're like, we're gonna go, and then they lock him inside the trailer. But I don't understand how they do that, because you're locking it from the outside.
No, I don't know how they do that, and there isn't. Oh yeah, and on the inside, he's trying to get out, but there's no lock. Oh, that's very strange.
Wouldn't that be impossible?
And a fire hazard.
I mean,
come on, that is not safe. Oh, yeah, so they decide to just walk off into the woods so that, well, she wants to talk, he wants to fuck. Right.
He's trying to get it, and she's like, were they alluding to something? Because it kind of felt like she was going to say, I'm pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
But they never quite got there because they never really had a scene.
I'm so glad you said that, because I completely picked up on that. It's like that's what she was going to say. I can't remember what she was saying, but it sounded like she was about to say, I need to tell you something, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Right.
But I will say...
Go on.
Oh, my favorite bit was when he's like, come on, baby, I'll keep you warm. And she's like, no, I just want to talk. And he starts like making out with her, and her hands are just at her side. And she's just standing there while he's like hugging up on her. And she literally does not move her arms. And I was like, oh, buddy. Now is not your time. It is not your time. You know,
she's just like zero reciprocation.
She's just not that into you. This is, you need to stop before it crosses the line here. Buddy.
Yeah. But I do absolutely love this bit. So they stumble upon Rawhead chowing down on the guy from the barn, Dennis. From earlier, who's Rawhead is hung upside down, and he's just like gnawing away on.
Also, was it the actual actor's body?
Oh, I don't know. Why?
Because it looked like it was. Like, it didn't
like
look
a
like
real
it was
body.
A fake. Yeah, and so I'm like, they had this actor come in for a scene, and like, you know what? Stick around. We still may need you. And so they shot all the scenes of his corpse with, I think, actually him.
Upside down.
Yeah.
Tied to a tree. Oh, fuck.
Literally.
I didn't pick up on that. Probably. I mean, they're not going to make... Look at what they did to Rawhead Rex, who is the titular character. They're not going to have time to make a body.
That's true. Especially in a month.
So this bit, I loved this bit, when they're running back to the trailer park.
Oh my God.
With the hand.
God. Yeah. Yes. Because what is it? They're like running in the trees, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Like I thought it looked cool. And then the Rawhead pops out, or does he? How does he?
Yeah, he does. He just pops out from behind a tree.
And the guy's like, whoa! And like she keeps running.
Yes.
I love that. She's like, you know what? I'm out of here. But I guess she didn't know. She didn't know. She just kept running. But also, like, that, the body she's dragging along got real light all of a sudden.
Well, yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? Because the reason she obviously didn't stop is because she's still holding his hand. So she thinks, he's still with me. It's okay. I don't need to look back.
Yeah.
And then she gets to the trailer park and she's just holding his dismembered hand. It's so good.
Right. And then she's like, oh my God. And it's like that scene from Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Mr. Arnold.
Yeah.
It's like, it's that exact moment.
Absolutely. That's what I thought. Speaking of Jurassic Park, like, this next shot I just think it is so iconic. So it's Rex on top of a hill with stormy weather, roaring with a head in his hands. It is iconic. It was
one of the few good moments of the movie, I thought. Because I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a great shot.
It's great. It's Simba on Pride Rock. It's Free Willy jumping over that wall.
Yes.
It's Meryl Streep singing Winner Takes It All. Okay. This is the moment in the film.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, that's funny. Also, it looked good in that light. The monster suit did.
Yeah. What you mean? You mean from like half a mile away?
Well, that's the only way it would look good. So I was actually like surprised that the first time we saw the monster, it was in full daylight.
Yeah. True. It doesn't look great with a lot of light on it, and so many close-ups. You're like, geez.
I know. I was like, yeah, let's zoom out there.
Yeah. Well, quite rightly, the family decide to haul ass and go home. But on the way, the little girl, who is called Minty.
I did not catch that.
Minty. Minty. She's like, I need a pee. And I only noticed at this point because the mum goes, oh, Minty, can't you hold it or something? And also, the dad's like, okay, I'll go with her in the middle of the countryside. And and the mum goes, no, let her go on her own. She needs to grow up. She's fucking 4.
I was like, I was shocked. Also, like, what kind of barbarians are we shitting in the woods? Like, I was like, what is, like, I'm from the country too, but I never, shockingly, never peed in the woods. But also, they didn't pee in the woods. They went into someone's yard.
Right, yeah.
And also, he didn't go with her. He said, honey, go in that yard. I'll wait out here.
Behind the bush.
Go behind a bush where I can't see you.
Yeah.
In someone's field, in the middle of nowhere.
And squat.
After I've seen a giant monster with holding someone's severed head.
Yes.
So, like, so many questions. And then he's shocked. He's shocked when the monster shows up,
Right. But it takes the son, and I was like, oh,
I was
there's
surprised.
a lot of blood. Yeah.
I was surprised we went there.
It kills the boy. I mean, but then Howard never really shows any grief or upset about it.
None of them really do.
There's no time.
We go from, he literally dismembers this child to, we're in the police station, and the guy's like, this is your fault. I tried to tell you. And it's like, sorry, you were right about a giant monster rampaging through the wilderness. Yes. Sorry, we thought you were a crazy person by saying that. When it's like, it doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah. He's more, by his son dying, instead of being like, oh my God, he's more like, haha, told you, proof now.
Yeah, literally.
Here's my son's foot. Believe me now?
Literally, yeah.
I win. But yeah, this is when Rex decides, I'm going back to that little
not the trailer park take 2 though.
Now this, it's
amazing because like this is Rampage. Rex, Rawhead Rex Rampage.
Yeah.
But it starts like with like what they're like talking about him.
He's just been there and people have just died, and these people are talking like, oh, this old story that I remember this time this monster was in the woods,
literally,
and they're like, and I saw the body, and it's like, no, this was 10 minutes ago.
It's literally like an urban legend, like they're talking about the man with the golden arm, but instead it's like, let me tell you a story about what happened last night. You'll never believe me. And then like the Rawhead like pokes his head through the window, and the guy's like, what the hell was that? And they're all like, don't worry about it, I'm in the middle of a story.
But he tips the whole fucking
trailer. Tips the fucking trailer over. It's genius. They're like, what was that? Don't worry. I'll poke my head out and see what it was.
Well, so yeah, he starts ripping people out of the window. But this is the most unnecessary nudity I've ever seen. So he drags the girl through the window and it rips her top off.
Yeah.
But is this meant to be sexy? Because she's screaming and being dragged out of a window and thrown against a tree.
I hated it. It made me uncomfortable. It wasn't it was gratuitous. It was unnecessary, but it also wasn't funny or
titillating.
Or even gory.
No, right. It's so pointless.
It didn't
just hits.
It was just hits for no reason. And I was this is bizarre and weird, and
I found it quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was like, oh, made me feel really gross. It made me feel gross. You know? It was weird.
The next bit, actually, when I think it's the inspector is in the car and Rawhead tips the car, does he hypnotize the inspector?
Okay, the movie starts going off the rails here. So the movie, and this goes to show, never show tits in a movie because you're going to take a left turn.
Right, downhill.
So ever since that moment, Rex starts doing things that he's never done before.
Yes.
He flips over a car. No, he rips him out. He rips the is he the chief?
Yeah, I think so. The chief inspector.
He rips the chief out of the car, and instead of killing him, he stares into his eyeball, mumbling something. And I was like, maybe that's how Rex got the priest to do everything.
But it wasn't that way. He just touched the altar.
And he stares him in the eyes and then doesn't kill him. And so he was hypnotized, right?
Yeah. And then he's under his spell, which begs the question, if Rawhead Rex can hypnotize people to make them do his evil bidding, when he first came out of the ground, wouldn't you, before you go on Rampage, wouldn't you just do that to a few people so you've at least got some...
An army?
Yeah, an army with you, yeah.
It would make sense. It would make sense if the movie wanted to make sense.
Yeah, and as you said, it's left turned and it just keeps turning left. It's full left circle.
It is left.
Because the next scene is the baptism, shall we say.
Wrote in all caps, Demon Golden Shower. I was, and that's and that's where I stopped taking notes. I was here, and then I stopped because it's I was shook. So the priest Declan, right? It's you hear him say, "Oh my God, you came," because I guess he's been waiting for Rawhead to get to the church.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Rawhead needs Jesus. This movie needs Jesus. So I'm glad he finally got there. He gets to the church, and the priest is they're in the cemetery, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're here." But then, is the other guy a priest too?
Yes, yeah.
The older priest.
He's the Reverend Coot.
The Reverend Coot, that's right. I forgot about that. And so the Reverend Coot is staring at him he's spying on them, and we see from his point of view what's happening. And Declan kneels in front of this giant monster, and the giant monster just starts pissing all over him, and
it's like a full stream as well. And he's sort of shaking it and moving.
I know! And the guy's oh yeah.
He's into it. Yeah. And we're not kink shaming, but it's the fact that it's a monster.
It's okay, listen.
Oh man.
I mean, you do you. That's so great. But I don't know if I want to see a movie about it.
No. It was so bizarre.
It was out of nowhere too, and they don't really talk about it. And maybe it would have made more sense if the monster again was a penis, because that would make sense. And
I believe in the book, the I was about to call them Yellow Games. I mean Golden Shower, Yellow Games. He's into Yellow Games.
Yellow Games. It's the worst version of the Hunger Games. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, apparently that is in the book, but it just really took me by surprise.
But that would make sense if the idea is that it's toxic masculinity, marking his territory. That would make sense if, I guess, the movie was fully committed to that idea. But I don't think, again, with the rating system and trying to make it not so inappropriate, you can do a movie that Clive wanted to do in that kind of environment, which I think this proves, because you have to not be tentative about the messaging, and I don't think that they went there with it. No. But I mean, even if they would have, I don't know if it would have saved the movie. So,
but it really elicited a reaction from me. It's like one of the only bits where I was like,
I shrieked. Like, what? Like, I was like, I never would I have thought we would have gotten there, and yet here we are. Here we are. I'm watching a demonic monster piss on somebody, on a priest.
But it's the way that there was no pre-discussion. Like, they both knew what was about to happen. You're going to kneel down, I'm going to get it out, and I'm going to hose you down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And
you're going to love it.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was...
Oh, it's a fucking amazing moment. But hypnotized Inspector... This is when there's, the church is in disarray, and hypnotized inspector sets fire to all the police cars, blows some shit up. This is when, so Howard gets to the altar, this burning hot altar, and he's like, well, it burns my hand. How can I open it? Because he's worked out that the stained glass windows are basically a puzzle, and there must be an artifact somewhere close by that can kill Raw. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but he gets out this stone from the altar, and it's a carved stone in the shape of a pregnant woman, and then we have the big sort of graveyard showdown, and
he like walks in with all the confidence in the world. He's like, I have a rock now, you better be careful. And Rawhead's like, smack, like he's like yeah, smack that doesn't do anything, and
rocks on the floor.
Literally, he's like, oh no. And then his wife shows up because she knew where he was.
Somehow, I don't know where she's been,
and she learned how magic works.
Oh, she just already knows for some reason.
I mean,
the power of the woman.
It's a little heavy-handed, Like, I was like, we get it, okay, we get it, we get it. But she picks up the stone, and like suddenly she's like.
She holds it above
Gandalf
her head.
the Grey, and she's blasting Rawhead Rex with these blue energy beams for a very long time.
Oh my god, it goes on for 20 minutes. Yeah. So long. Some bitch in a red coat comes flying out of the stone.
Literally, it's like what? And then like,
is it Mary?
I have no idea. Like, cause it's like an angel. It literally looks. She's like, and it's like she's like, not only am I a magic person, I can summon angels or whatever. And Rawhead the whole time just going like, oh,
yeah,
oh!
For 20 minutes.
Howard, what's his name?
Howard.
Yeah. Howard. He's like, 'twas a woman. Like he like, remember he has that line. He's like. It was literally like, 'twas beauty killed the beast. Like, it's like, it doesn't really make any sense. I was like, what is...
And it's so for us that, isn't it? Because they're like, shit, does this make sense? Well, just get him to say, it's a woman.
Right. But I mean, like, she's holding a stone with a vagina on it. Like, I was like, we know.
Yeah, it's a woman holding a stone of a woman that beams out another woman. We get it.
Yeah, it's like, we found the message. We're here, It was, and then like Rawhead turns old.
Yeah, but they don't capitalize on that because it looks like kind of cool. Like they've got a really wrinkled version of him, but they show it for like 2 seconds and then the ground swallows him.
I mean, yeah, but then they also lose the stone too.
Oh yes, of course, that goes bouncing off. Oh boy. And that's the film, but then
that we have the stinger at the end.
Yes,
Trailer Boy. Neil is his name because I remember writing. Neil has seen some shit, so he's laying flowers at the grave of his brother, who literally talked about murdering him.
Yes, that's
if
so
we
true.
Remember,
Hated
like he's like, I'm gonna kill that kid, like literally, like without irony, literally, it's like. Yeah, I don't think they got along.
He had actual murderous intent for it.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? He was my brother, so I'm gonna lay flowers that I got a ton of lilies or whatever. It's like daffodils, whatever they were. And then he's like walking away, and it's like boom, Rawhead, and it's like end of movie. Boom, 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 boom. It's
doesn't make any sense.
I thought we dealt with him, but then,
right. He's underground again.
Not even angel magic can get rid of him.
Right, but
Even
it's just the way his head pops up. It's like, whoop.
Yeah, it was like boom, like a groundhog, and then it's like credits.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. What they should have done, I feel, is either do something super simple with the mythology,
yeah,
and stick to that, or if you want to go with this metaphor and this, toxic masculinity and the power of the woman, then don't give us the threads and then not put them together. It's like so left and right.
Yeah. It's like we could have cut one of the trailer park massacres and just gotten like actual information.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a bit where the crazy priest sort of gives a bit of backstory and goes, he in 18 something they buried the devil and thought that burying him would be enough, but evil always comes back. And I was like, what? That's not a story?
Doesn't make any sense. And then remember when the other priest was like, what are you gonna do when he finally gets here? What is he gonna do to you? And the guy's like, kill me, I hope.
Yes. I hope. He kind of sings that.
The choices. But then, like, actually, no. What you really wanted was that monster piss. Like, it's like, that's all I want. After that, he can dispose me. Although I will say, the only cool death I liked in the movie was the evil priest's death.
Oh shit! Because it's the most bloody.
He picked him up, and like the camera is like the priest, like it almost looked like he's like floating towards. And it's like floating, and then like his neck like explodes with blood. Yeah. Like I thought that was like a cool moment.
Yeah, that was it. And I suppose it was light on gore because it was all mostly after effects. Like you see Rawhead go nom 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 nom, and then throw someone, and they've all got the same gash. That obviously is the same prosthetic they stick on each person. Yeah,
it seems they were trying to save a little bit of money.
But the thing is, it's estimated that it was 1.5 million the budget, and to me I'm like, where did you buy Ireland?
Yeah, it's like they had to spend all the money tilling the ground to get the field ready,
right? And in 1985 or whenever they filmed it, that's 1.5 million.
Money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and this is what we get. Oh, not sure. It became like a cult hit. It was an instant cult hit,
I'm sure. I mean, that makes sense.
It was a VHS.
It has all of the ingredients for like a cult classic. Like just like over the top movie that's just, so beyond, and has a couple moments that, people would always like clap and cheer at. Like I'm sure the Monster P, that's like a moment when everyone's just shouting at the screen,
Yeah. In a group, this would be fun because every time, and because you're rooting for Rawhead because it's such a stupid looking monster, that just can't move and just goes ah. That would be an absolute crowd. Yeah.
Why?
It'd be a crowd pleaser that in a crowd, but to watch on my own. This is the thing is, this is the second time I've seen it. And I remember the first time it was very much had it on in the background. It was one of those. And so like every time I'd hear a roar, I'd kind of turn around to go, and get to see him. But this time I properly watched it because I was like, I want to know what the actual story is. And I still...
Surprise!
I got as much as I did the first time.
Yeah, there is no story, turns out. Man, what a trip. What a trip. It was the Monster P. The Monster P sent me.
Yeah. But thank you for coming and enduring that one.
Oh my God. No, I will say, I do love this because that's a movie I never would have seen. I never knew it existed. Did you know there's a comic book?
Yes, it was. I did see it was turned into a comic. And actually, some of the illustrations look really cool.
They do. And I'm like, you see, that monster, it makes a little more sense.
Yeah. It's just clearly a massive rush job. That they had 4 weeks notice, and they were also, being pussies about the BBFC. So it just misses everything pretty much. Is
this when Clive Barker decided to direct his own movies?
Yes, after this. Yeah, he was like, okay, I'm taking over for Hellraiser. And Hellraiser is a 5-star film. It's the first one.
I've never watched it.
It's brilliant. And I bet you it's not what you expect because they went off and, Pinhead became the sort of iconic character. And he's in 2 shots in the first one. It's like
right, because they're like bookends it. They're like a group, right? The
Cenobites,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's about the family in between that story, which
Okay.
I think you'd love the first one.
All right. Well, I'll have to give it a watch.
Yeah. But thank you very much for coming and joining me for this.
Anytime.
Tell the people where to find you.
I'm on all social medias at Cody Cobbler.
Mm-hmm. And anything, any message of any messages of happiness that you want to send out into the universe?
I've been drained of happiness. Rawhead Rex raw dogged my brain. But I wish everyone a happy and healthy Halloween. What year is it?
No, that's good. All right, thank you.
Bye, love you, darling.
Bye, darling.
Bye, doll.
And we out. Rawhead Rex, a big, stomping, cocky Rawhead Rex. This one stays on my top shelf of Arrow Blu-rays because I know I'll be watching it again in the not too distant future. Loved it, loved the chat. Thank you as always to the brilliant Cody Jamison Strand. I cannot wait to see what we hit up next. Next week, you'll be getting double servings. I'll be covering Frank Henenlotter's sequels to his cult smash Basket Case, which I covered with Mark Kermode on season 1. So yes, next week I'll be covering both Basket Case 2 and Basket Case 3, The Progeny. This was a lot of fun, so I will see you there. If you want to follow us on the socials, on Twitter and Letterboxd, it's Stevie's Brainrot. On Instagram and Facebook, it's BrainrotPod. If you want to email me, the email address is steviesbrainrot@gmail.com. And as I said, merch on discount at steviesbrainrot.com. Alright then, I'll see you next week for a double dose of Basket Case. Toodles!